again to check out Relationships Through the Looking Glass, a podcast where we talk about everything from mental health, culture, and social norms that impact our relationships and how we can better improve ways to become authentic as we attract relationships meant for us. Sit back, relax, and come on into the conversation. Hey everybody, welcome back to our 7th episode on Through the Looking Glass and how we look at relationships in ways we can be more authentic about who we attract, who we are, and making sure we attract the relationships meant for us. So today we're talking about relationship accountability. And I'm sure everybody once in their lifetime has asked the question, is it me? Was I the asshole here? Because, hey, I've asked that to myself multiple times. So today we're going to talk about the importance of being accountable in relationships. And I've pulled together some of my biggest accountability partners who have no problem calling me out when I am lying to myself or potentially doing something that's harming a relationship. And yeah, we're going to have a really honest, transparent conversation here. So I'm excited to jump on in. I'm going to go around the room and I kind of just want you guys to kind of talk about why you feel accountability in relationships are so important. So I'm going to start with the person on this call who has known me his whole entire life. He came onto the planet and took the title of only child away from me. And I am so blessed and happy that he did. It's my little brother. It's who I've talked about on almost every podcast. He's actually here with us today. So say hi, Raheem.
Hey, how y'all doing out there? How y'all doing today? Accountability. I believe far as men go, real men going to take accountability. Like I said, the difference between a man and a male. A male and a boy is not going to take it. He's going to roll the dice and he's going to try to weave his way through, but a real man will always take accountability.
This is going to be good. I can already feel it. So we're going to jump over to the other man or male. Which one was it? Who's the real one? I got confused, Raheem. Is it what? Is it men or males?
No. Oh, men, a real man. Yeah, men are the real. Yeah.
I'm already learning. All
men,
right, men.
Yeah, real
the next
men,
man on the phone call is Ben, and he is my other brother from another mother who I've known a majority of his life. Say hi to the people, Ben, and why you feel accountability is so important.
How y'all doing? Blessed. All praises to the highest, and it's good to share this time and space with y'all. The reason accountability is important because there's no growth, there's no change without it. And if you don't take accountability, you get what I'm saying? You're gonna be young when you're old. Simple as that.
Oh, I like
Tenfold.
I like that. All right. Now we're gonna jump over to the ladies. The ladies on the call. I'm gonna start with Keisha. I've known Keisha, goodness gracious, it's almost over 10 years now. We met through work. A colleague of mine who has become one of my closest friends who also holds me accountable when I say things or do things that doesn't make sense. So Keisha, say hi to the people.
Hello, everyone.
And tell us why you think accountability is so important.
Well, I think accountability is important so that you can just straight up be honest with yourself. You need to hear yourself say it, and you need to be accountable as far as watching your own behaviors. I think it needs to start first with that before holding your significant other to be accountable. So
that's a good one. Self-accountability. And last but definitely not least is Princess India. Wow. She allowed me or helped me step out of that spiritual closet that I was trapped in for so long. Many of you might know her from her YouTube channel, her books. Like, she has done amazing things, tons of things. And she just happens to also be a practicing therapist in New Orleans. So she knows all the tea when it comes to that. So why don't you say hi to the people?
Hey, people.
What's going on?
Yeah, dude. I think accountability in relationships is literally the lifeblood of a relationship, because otherwise, accountability is you gaslight the other person and send them on a journey of trying to fix things that aren't wrong, and we put ourselves into self victimization. So that's not what's hot in the streets right now.
It's absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Agree.
Yep,
Yes,
absolutely
man.
not. So I want to throw back to the males. The men on the call. See, I'm learning. The men on the call. So, what are some things that you all have experienced in previous relationships or current? And I don't want to get anybody into trouble, but if you have any examples on where accountability or lack thereof has caused an issue with you or the relationship as a whole. And again, not it could be previous relationships or current, but has there been an experience that you've had that kind of messed things up, where somebody wasn't kind of stepping up in that area? No one wants to talk.
Oh no! Just give us a minute. You want me to go ahead and go?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and go. Okay. I remember a time when I could remember a young lady I was dating. She was very jealous, right? And being that way, it was always like, well, who do you talk to today at work? Who when you went to the restaurant today, did a girl serve you? Things like that. So it came to the point where I'm just like, okay, sweetheart, this, what happened to you? So she told me what happened, things like that, prior heartbreak, and okay, what was the healing mechanism and things of that sort? What did you try to do to get over this? Nothing, because he didn't do nothing. Basically it was all on him. You see what I'm saying? So I dealt with it for a little minute, and then, I'm like, okay, I'm going to the gym. I'm going to work out. It is 5 a.m. So she thought that I had a girl, right? A side piece or whatever like that. So now, it got to the point where I'm like, okay, look here, you trying to put me in a box, and I don't like this. It's uncomfortable and so on. So look here, you're gonna have to make some changes. Oh, I'm sorry. It was just this, that didn't happen. Blah 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 blah. So I just felt that she wasn't accountable for trying to repair that element of herself. You see what I'm saying? So eventually what ends up happening, I had to let her know, hey, this ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? We just gonna have to split ways. And that's what ended up happening. So, instead of her taking accountability for her jealousy, she go around telling everybody, well, he just broke up with me. I did this for him and I did that for him and things like that. And one thing I learned about someone who's very jealous, they like to hold things, what they did over your head. But they never take accountability for what they're for the reason why they're so jealous. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Now don't get it twisted. We, what I'm saying, as a man, it's jealousy goes two ways. That's what a lot of people don't understand. Fear, jealousy, things like that, it goes both ways. If it's a righteous jealousy, it's zealous. You making sure that, your house protected. So it's like the lion. He pissed around his territory just to make sure people know. And if you go in there, he's going to do something to you. And then you got that jealousy that, weak and fearful based because you're afraid to lose X, Y, Z or whatever, or that person. So now you start doing these low vibrational things to try to keep that person. But more likely, it always end up you lose that.
A lot of women, with a lot of things, it's accountability on both sides, but women, they got to stop putting everything out there, because these males are predators. And when you get them, the first 90 days going to be sweet. And then after that, the accountability and everything else is out the window.
And I see that. After that trial run.
Yeah, after that trial run. You got 90. Yeah, you got 90 days. After 90, he going to be sweet 90 days, but he's not even thinking about accountability, because he might have found a woman that done ran on Instagram or social media and just, you know how they do. They be thirsty, always telling their problems. Oh, man, people lock into that. She got a good job. She got this and that. Oh, man, they lock into that. So women got to stop men for not even having the fact to take accountability for anything. They got to stop it. So it's on both. So both genders got issues with it.
I agree. And that's definitely something. Yeah. That's definitely something that us or females who are listening to take note. You have to be very mindful of what you're posting or sharing on these platforms, because people can use that to do whatever, they want to do, whatever they want to do with that. So yeah, that's a great example. I'm gonna jump over to the female side of it now. Keisha, how about you? Do you have any examples where the lack of accountability played a role in a demise or conflict within a relationship?
Absolutely. Just to pull one out of the bag. I guess when it comes down to being accountable to make sure time is spent, I dated a guy in the past who had time for everything else in the world except for time spent. So, it was time to go hang out, made the time to hang out with family, friends, co-workers, whatever. But, when it came down to actually spending quality time, that just went out of the window. So I think that's very important in a relationship, beyond all of the other stuff, key points that's important too. But make sure you have that quality time spent. And so I feel like it's important on both genders to make sure that you are accountable. If you're going to be in a relationship with somebody, that's by choice, then you have to hold yourself accountable to make sure that you're making the necessary time for that person to nurture that relationship. So, and I've dealt with that a couple of times, and I'm wondering if what your brother just added, that could play a part in that. So,
yeah, it's something to think about. And one of the reasons why this platform is so important in all the podcasts that we do, that I have a male that's sitting on the opposite of me, because it is a different perspective when it comes to males and females. You know what I'm saying? So jumping over to Princess India, do you have an example of where lack of accountability has caused an issue, discord, or actually the demise of a whole relationship?
That would be my marriage. And it's a bittersweet story. I would say on both ends, my ex-husband and I going into the marriage, the lack of accountability was more in the sense of us being two different people, and when those frictions happen after the honeymoon stage and all that good stuff, it's when accountability needed to step in with both partners, and that was lacking a little on his end. However, it was lacking a little on my end as well. But the realization that I came to was that in order for him to be happy, I would have to be someone that I'm not. And in order for me to be happy, he would have to be someone that he is not. And why I believe that my divorce was as amicable as it was is because the accountability that should have existed the entire marriage did not exist until our separation, where we both realized that in order for our marriage to be successful, it would require for either myself or him to forsake who we are as individuals in order for our marriage to work. And it's not fair for any human being to ever have to do that. So the first and last time that him and I both took accountability in our marriage is when we got divorced.
Well, that's deep. That's
deep.
And thanks for sharing that. And it's something to have people kind of to think about when it comes to situations like that. And it could be something as simple, I shouldn't say simple, but it's something as easy as putting too much of your personal business so people can, like my brother said, predators. And I even tell people that in their dating apps, right? It's like there's predators out there. There's pedophiles who actually look to see who are the single parents who have I have children on their app to actually target these individuals. So we really have to be, we really have to be careful about what we're putting out there. So it's my turn for transparency, where accountability has played a role in the screwing up of relationships. And here's where I get honest. Like, my lack of accountability in choice of partners has screwed up every relationship I've been in. Ooh, let's pause for dramatic effect.
But,
oh man.
I know.
And I was gonna go there next.
I beat you to it. But I'm just gonna be 100% honest. And the lack of accountability, where choosing emotionally unavailable men have been that's my type. Apparently that is my type, and I did not realize how messed up that was until actually Princess India one day said, maybe you are pulling in these emotionally unavailable men because you yourself are emotionally unavailable. Okay.
No, that
somebody done caught the Holy
reason.
Ghost show.
Oh,
cannot be the reason.
But it was. And let me show you how my emotionally unavailable showed up. And this might help some listeners too, because it showed up in ways that look like protection. My emotionally availability showed up in my choice of, I want to keep people at a distance. So I have no problem having a long distance relationship because that person don't have to be around me all the time. I have no problem with being loose on titles because that gives me a sense of freedom where I don't have to have that level of accountability to somebody else. Because, hey, we were never together in the first place. I never cleaned that. So are just not being fully present in a relationship. I was never fully present in my whole marriage of 15 years. I was always one foot out the door, even when it started. And to be able to speak that now shows a level of healing and awareness that I did not have in the beginning. But I always had a plan of, if this doesn't work out, I need to have all my ducks in a row so I can be able to support myself and my kids on my own. So everything I did was focused on me and the kids, not a marriage. And that in itself is a level of being emotionally unavailable, hence attracting emotionally unavailable people to me. And then being confused on why things don't work out. Like, I don't get it. And it's having the ability to have that awareness to say, oh, maybe it's me. Maybe I like long distance because it's safe. Maybe I like, people who are not fully available because it's safe. Because being vulnerable at that level is something I'm not comfortable with. So having that awareness allowed me to step in and say, okay, yeah, that's something I need to work on. But I had to be made aware of it. And that's another question I'm gonna throw back to you all. Are you responsible for your lack of accountability if you're not aware of it? If somebody's never brought this to your attention, or you're doing something that it's messing up a connection or a relationship, but no one's bringing this to your attention, are you still responsible for that? Can you still be held accountable for that?
Yep.
Okay, talk about it.
Just like they have murder and they have manslaughter. Right? It's like, if I get in my car and I hit somebody and they die, my intention was not to get in my car to kill someone with my car, right? But I killed them. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I can be charged with manslaughter as opposed to vehicular homicide, like it being an intentional murder, because there's a lack thereof of intent. So the same with someone's behaviors. It's like, if you think about a woman who has like daddy issues, right? So to her, I can cuss, right?
Go ahead. Do it.
Cuss it up. My brother is definitely going to be cussing.
Because I want to say all ninjas ain't shit, right? A woman who says that, right? And that's because she got daddy issues. So when she meets a dude, it's all like, because, you ain't shit and you need to show me, like, I need you to pay this light bill before I'm going to give you the time of day, right? So you have a chick that's like that who's broken because she has daddy issues. She's been, hurt by all these other dudes and stuff. It's like boohoo, tiny violin is playing. You know what I'm saying? Like, so sad for you. However, it's like the damage that you cause to a person who, crosses your path that meant you no ill intent or no harm or actually tried to work with you. There is no get out of jail free card for that. It's like, to me, that's a manslaughter charge. It's like, yeah, you may not have intended to hurt dude, you know what I'm saying, but you have to be responsible for the damage that you cause for your own brokenness, especially as adults. Like, if we talking teenagers here, hey, they're kids. But with adults, it's like, I feel, especially at any of our ages, it's just inexcusable at this point when, generations before us, all they had was Oprah to get insight on mental health topics. But with us, you could see a therapist through a phone. You know what I'm saying? They got companies that give sliding scale and sometimes free counseling. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it just shows a morbid lack of self-awareness if a person doesn't come to a point where they realize, like, wow, every single friendship and relationship I've ever had has gone to shit. And the only common factor between all of these people are me. And the fact that a person never stops and thinks that it's them, that shows something that's a little more on the pathological side. I'm just saying. It's my 2 cents.
Yeah. I completely agree. And just recently, and you and Keisha can definitely kind of co-sign with what I'm about to say. It's a situation of, yeah, what happened is absolutely messed up, but at the end of the day, I have to look at where my responsibility played a role in what occurred. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And there takes a level of maturity to get there. Because I'll tell you straight up, my brother will also agree, I got daddy issues. I absolutely do. But I have never been a person that projected them onto another person in the way you described. My daddy issues came in where there was the family I was born into, that male was not there to keep me safe.
Right.
And whatever reason. So now I doubt that there's men or a man that can do that. So I got to do that for myself. That's how my daddy issues come up. Now,
I'm glad you said that, because that's a important facet of daddy issues that is often overlooked. It's like people typically will think within that range of, like, bitter, angry, broken woman. But the other most popular dynamic, and this is for little girls who even had daddies who were in the home with them, where dad was real busy, and it's that safety aspect. So that's where you get like that independent woman who is self-sufficient, and she doesn't ever look for someone to do something for her, because either her dad was telling her to do for herself or groomed her. She was a one girl out of a bunch of boys, or her dad just wasn't emotionally available. And the byproduct of that is a woman who does not feel that someone is going to rescue her, protect her, or keep her safe. I'm glad you said that.
Right.
I think a lot of women would benefit from that.
Exactly. Oh, yeah. And what are your thoughts, Keisha?
I completely can see what both of y'all are saying with that, and the wheels are turning in my head. I'm looking back and reflecting over my stuff. Like, definitely with the daddy issues, I can see that. I mean, the last time I saw my father alive, I was 9 years old, and he's already passed away now. He passed away when I was 21. But I can see where I've become like really, really tough in some areas because of not having my dad. I've had some father figures, but it's still not quite the same. So I really do think that plays a role when it comes down to dating, even though I don't give off this aura of, hey, I'm an independent woman, I can do this myself. I think a man can feel that. He can sense it by actions, So I really do think that definitely plays a role when not having that father piece. Also with being vulnerable and I guess not necessarily taking a role as a mother figure for a guy, but these men who are, they come to you and they're broken. It's like, okay, the nurturer, all right, and yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm gonna throw this to our men. Oh, I got some people laughing. Look here now. I'm throwing this to the men on the call.
Nah,
oh boy, here we go.
It's crazy because that's just what I'm saying. Like, the women gotta stop with the nurturing the broken dudes. These dudes got to heal. If the dude ain't healing, they gotta stop dealing with them. Straight shit. Like, I feel like I know daddy issues, affect women. I know it affect my sister. It affect people in different ways, but I also feel when a woman's choosing a man, y'all got to look for those qualities in a man that your daddy was lacking. Like, I can see, honestly.
Ooh, there you go.
Yeah, I can see. I can see honestly because I know my brother, my ex-brother-in-law and shit, and I was always worried for my sister because he ain't had that man shit in him. So I never would move far from my sister. Like, now I stay 30 miles from her because I figured if some shit pop off, he ain't the one. Like, little bro got to go down there and get this shit off because he's not the one. So it's like and what I try to tell women is like, I understand the issue, but they got to look for them qualities that their dad didn't provide, because it's like, I'm a man, so I got to make sure my sister is good. But it's like, I never tell my sister like, well, this, that, don't pick him. Because, that's not my place. But I can read a man when I walk in the room, I can read a man. That's just something that was instilled in me. Like, I could read people when I'm in the room, and I just really feel that a lot of women like the nurturer thing at first, because it's like, I want to build this dude up. Let me take this broken man and build up. But what a lot of women see is they build a broken man up, then he starts feeling himself. And if you get a dude that ain't never been popping, when he get woman attention, he about to play. Because he's never been popping. He's never been popping. Like I ain't trying to toot my own home, but I've been popping since kindergarten. Like, this real shit. You know what I'm saying? So I never had that issue of like woman attention, because I was like, I was that dude in school. I was just being real.
You're a nice looking guy.
Yeah. And so appreciate that, brother. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, woman gotta stop that. Cause I know people like, oh, he was so down and out, and look at him. I got him the job. He's dressing better. I got him in the gym. And next thing you know, oh, he's feeling himself. Oh man, I ain't never got this much attention. Now you got social media. Next thing, and then it gets chaotic because the women don't put so much in him. Now he trying to play. Oh, she ain't going for that. She's not going for that. So that's when it gets chaotic. So I feel accountability is on the woman as well. It's like, when you meet these broken men, they got to work for it. It ain't no, I'm going to help you out, but you got to show me something. Like, you got to work for that shit. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't work for that shit, you giving him the food on the plate, the whole platter. Like, damn, man, I met a good woman. She got good credit. She got a good job and shit, man. I'm going to stay here, man. I'm going to stay here and see how this shit go. Even though he know he ain't really going to push himself, because you pushing him. Is he pushing himself? No, he's not pushing himself. You pushing him. You're telling him to go do this, get these loans. I show you how to get these grants. You're helping him out. And once you become mama, you can't drop the mama title. Once a woman becomes mama,
Once you cross that line,
once you mama, you mama. They can be with somebody else.
Even counselor and people in the helping fields. Once you cross over, you can't back up.
They calling you.
He's your client now.
Yeah, they calling you. I'm telling you. So women got to realize, take accountability, and look for the red flags, man. I don't care if a man.
What are some? Tell us, especially females who are listening. What would be
man can't cook. That's one. Like, he like, man, I don't know how to cook. You ain't gonna cook for him every day. You trying to get your, I ain't knocking a woman and saying, of course, cook for your man or whatever.
I ain't doing that.
No, I understand. That's what I'm saying though. But listen though, sis. Listen, that's what I'm saying though. But if the man, the man couldn't cook though. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, women got to know his little things, like how a man move if he's in debt already. If he's young and he's in debt, he's trying to impress niggas. Excuse my language. I'm saying, but he's trying to impress people. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you young and you in debt, if you young already and your ass in debt, oh, you out there trying to live for, you trying to impress this person. He trying to impress that girl that ain't gave him no love in 9th grade. So he went out there and got this high-ass car payment. He went and got that high-ass furniture from Aaron's. Oh, I got me a new bed. Because he trying to impress her. So
talk to
yeah,
him, boy.
he trying. If he young already and dead, like if you young and dead and shit, you trying to impress people. He ain't trying to build no fortune or build no empire. He trying to impress. He getting his damn gold. He getting his jewelry financed. Come on, man. Come on, man. People do. The woman got to look for those red flags.
That's right.
Ask the man straight up. What's your income ratio? If he get angry, hang up the phone. Shit, hang up the phone.
Okay.
Yeah, straight
They're gonna
up.
be like, what that is. What that is.
All right, Ben, how about you? What do you think about all this knowledge?
Okay, I'm gonna come two ways with you, and I'm gonna give you a foundation of why certain men think the way they think, and how you can combat that. Okay. Like me, for instance, I was born in Conway, South Carolina. I was born in a little town right before you get to Myrtle Beach. We grew up in a snake infested, goddamn termite infested home, right? And my mama hated all her kids. The hate was leveled. You see what I'm saying? So I'm 40. I got two younger sisters that's 38. And my older brothers and sisters is, I think my oldest brother was 13 years older than me. And then you have Barbara, Gwen, and you have Odell, Barbara, Gwen, and then my sister that raised me. Anyway, my mother would say things like this to me. Nigga, you ain't gonna be shit, this, that, and the third. However, I was a black sheep. I'd be like, yes, I will. This, that, and the third. So all my brothers and sisters did not talk back to her. I was the only one that talked back to her. You get what I'm saying? So with that being said, and having that foundation and that seed planted in my heart, it's like, okay, this is how women are supposed to be or something like that. So, it made me fast because when she say this and that and the third, I'll cuss out and run and then get on the bus. I'll go get on the bus somewhere. So I learned the whole bus system in Charleston when I was 6. So now, as time went on and stuff like that, the mental abuse, the physical abuse if she can catch me. The physical abuse if she can catch me and stuff like that. And then she ended up being like, I was 9 and she ended up dying. And I didn't feel any remorse for her dying. I was happy that she died. You see what I'm saying? What 9-year-old boy would be happy when their mom died? You see what I'm saying? Now, on my dad's side, he was a true fuck nigga. All he did was promise and never did. He came to the funeral. Not only that, my mom had us at a wedlock. So, okay, he felt like, shit, damn, I got no children. She's still married to this nigga over here. So now he made her go to court and say, hey, my children are these, the gentleman she was married to who she was separated from. These are her children. So now, okay, he will promise this to us and he will promise that to us and stuff like that. And then he went and come through. You get what I'm saying? So now I got it on both ends. I got a dad who don't care. I got a mama who didn't give a fuck or beat the hell out you when she was living. So now she dead. Okay, so now my oldest sister took custody of me and stuff like that. So it was a little bit more structure and things like that. But you have to understand that my oldest sister got raised by my mother too. So she had some of the characteristics and things like that. So now, okay, someone who's going through that type of thing, they're, you know what I'm saying, within me, I was broken, even though, I was good in sports and things like that. Those are the things that sustain me as a young man. So now, when you deal with a woman, you're used to that brokenness and that's normal to you. It's normal that, your sister, I don't know, deal with a dude that's this way or something like that. And even though you don't like it. So now when I started dealing with women, I started being harsh towards them. You get what I'm saying? Because once these characteristics of my mother and my sisters came out, I'm like, oh, hell nah. Now you a hoe, you a bitch. Man, get the hell on. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So with all that being said, I had to take accountability for, even though I grew up in these environments, I had to take accountability for who I was. So now, being who I was and things like that, I had to learn to understand that all women aren't the way my mother and my sisters were. You see what I'm saying? So with that being said, I kind of went on the spiritual journey and things like that. And, you know, I learned some things. When you're dealing with a man, or if you're dealing with a man, that man gonna take care of everything that's in his sight. You see what I'm saying? He gonna feed his dog, and he gonna feed his wife and his children his dog before he feed himself. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And also, you get what I'm saying? If he can't afford it at the moment and things like that, he's not focusing on the right now. He's saying, you know, okay, look here. I don't have it right now, but I'm going to get it, and we're going to get out this situation, and we're going to keep it moving. So if you want to talk about accountability and stuff like that with a man and stuff like that, or if you want to talk about the type of man not to deal with, a type of man not to deal with is one that give excuses. He evade any situation that's hard.
Mm-hmm.
If a situation is hard and he's coming to you for that, that's probably not the type of dude. Address him a couple of times, and if you keep it going, cut him off and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm just letting you know the type of dudes that's out there. You had that type of dude that I was, compared to, you know what I'm saying? It's many other stories I can tell, but I'm just saying, like, a dude who's accountable or whatever like that, he's gonna make it right. That's all I'm gonna say.
No, and thank you for sharing your story, because what was so the foundation of that story is what I've said to so many people, where people have given individuals excuses. Well, he had a rough life and blah, blah, blah. He didn't have a father. My brother had no father figure, and it was one of the most amazing fathers I've ever seen. And in your story, through growing up through abuse and everything, there has to be a time in someone's life where they don't use their history and their circumstance to excuse poor behavior. There has to be a time where you say, yeah, that happened to me, but I am not that circumstance. That happened to me. I am not that. And once that happens, and like you said, don't make excuses. Like I could say, well, I was from a single parent home and blah, 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 blah. My brother could say the same thing, but we don't. We freaking, we hustle, we get out there and make things happen. And what really annoys me when it comes to accountability is when people use examples of things that happen to them and saying that's the reason why I am that way. It can make you more predetermined to go in certain paths, but you have to take accountability for your own healing.
Right.
And that's what I've always said. Go ahead.
Exactly.
And let me say this real quick, Michelle. It's never no excuse, because see, the thing is, you might have been born in this environment and you see this environment, that's what you know. But the thing is, when you make a choice, you know, because life is about choices, you have to go through whatever circumstance that you made that choice through, good or bad. And when you get a certain age, you can't say, okay, you know, mama ain't did this, or daddy ain't did this, or Victor wasn't there for me, or whatever like that. You got to say, okay, you know, I'm going to make it better. I'm not going to do this to my child, or I'm not going to do this to my, you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And then you put that, you sow that suit in you sow that suit in your heart, and then you move from there.
So these are some statements that came through in a group where the men were asked, and the males, y'all can jump in too, but I'm kind of focusing on the ladies. I want to see what your feedback is on what some men said women need to be held accountable for. So the first statement was, women need to stop using equality only when it suits her. Women need to stop using equality only when it suits her. What do y'all feel about that statement?
It's a societal problem. It's a double standard. That's something I could say wholeheartedly, because something I got a lot of flack for in the therapeutic community here in the wonderful city of New Orleans is the population I used to work with. Is I got very passionate about helping fathers with child support cases and custody cases, and I was running groups for men who were in narcissistic abusive relationships, and there were a lot of local male celebrities that were in that group. And the reason for that was finding out that there were so many men that were in abusive relationships, but there being this dynamic where men were afraid to speak out about it because, you know, the whole masculinity thing. So with me, it's like just kind of deep diving into that to be the best resource as possible for these men is when I first started to be very clear on the disparaging, grotesque double standard that exists. And it's something, and I think, Michelle, you and I kind of had like a baby conversation on this a few weeks ago, but it's like I noticed that, you know, with feminism and stuff, you think of, you know, a woman, she's liberated, we should be able to work and like be paid the same thing. But then when it comes to like head of household dynamics, right? It's like a woman wants to be independent, wants to work, wants to be paid fair wages, which I think is totally fair. However, it's not clearly defining what feminism is, because the same women who want those things go into relationships and then want like a guy to follow the rules of like, you know, old world relationship dynamics.
Right.
So yeah, so it's kind of like there is a double standard that exists. And I think for the many years I've kind of pondered on it, it's like I feel like a that has to be transcended, if you will, because it's like it's a black and white ordeal. It's like at one point in time women were subjugated and marginalized, right? And it's like, even though today we're still, you know, subjugated, marginalized, objectified, and things of the sort, it's like for us to come to a middle ground, it's almost as if that Likert scale has to be transcended to where we can find a true, authentic definition of equality, to where it's okay to be a wife and a mom and to work. You know what I mean? And for your husband to be a dad and a husband and work, and for it to be more of a partnership. And I think that's really what's lacking, is we're trying to apply a schematic or a mold or a program that's outdated. We're trying to infuse new like ethos and idealism into it. And it's like a car that's riding on 2 donuts and you got 22-inch rims. You know what I'm saying? Like the ride ain't smooth. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I feel like it has to be like a redefining of what that even means, because like equality at this point, I could not say wholeheartedly that there's equality for women or for men. And I think that's very tongue in cheek for most people to hear a woman even say that, because when you look at it historically, you know what I mean? But in the bigger picture, it's like personal accountability, self-awareness, being conscious of what's going on in the world says, yeah, there's a certain level of equality for every minority, women, like people of color. It's a certain level of it, but is it like full on equality? Absolutely not. But then on the same side, it's like men don't have that either, you know?
Right. Right. You're absolutely right. And it can really cause some areas of concern when you're talking about that, like, wow, I want all these, but when I come home, I need this to be like that. So yeah, I guess I can agree with that statement that gentleman put in. Here's another one. Keisha, this is thrown at you. He said, women need to stop looking for their own type of closure. If it's in your face, let it go and go be happy somewhere else. Just because the closure doesn't look like the closure you want doesn't mean it's not closure. What do you think about that?
I actually think sometimes, and it reminds me of a past relationship, actually my last relationship, a few years ago. Even though we had those last words, it still wasn't enough for me for closure. And I felt like because he wasn't being like totally honest. And I got to the point where it's like the stages of grief, regardless if it's a person that died, if it's just a relationship, you're going to go through those stages. And I came to this point where it was like, all right, I have to be in charge of getting my closure. So there's a pastor that I follow, Darius Daniels, awesome. Heard a sermon he was preaching. He's real down to earth late one night. And he was talking about getting that closure of just, okay, I accept the fact that this didn't work out. I may have gotten hurt. I'm going to move on from this. Because sometimes when you wait for somebody else to give you what you feel like you need to label it or put a Band-Aid over it of closure, you may never get it from that person. And I think that's how sometimes women or men, it can pour over into the next relationship. Because it's like that person have moved on, but you still feel like you hadn't got the closure that you need. So it's almost like forgiveness. Forgiveness is for you.
Right.
You know, so that's the way I look at it with the closure part. Okay, you come to the point of acceptance. I'm going to get my closure for this and I'm going to move on. But as far as just taking what somebody gives you for closure, that may not be enough for your personal closure. And, you know, that's for men or women. So that's my take on it.
I agree 110% because I say that to a lot of my trauma clients. It's the fact that the biggest misconception is that closure comes from another person, when in reality, closure comes from us as the individual. And the proof in that is that there's someone who could be abused by someone, and they could go to the abuser and say, you did this, 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 and this to me, and you altered the course of my life and changed the way that I perceive myself, and my life would have been so different if you would have never done this. And the person could turn around and say, you're absolutely right. It's like, I was wrong. I should have never done that to you, you know, and completely apologize. And there's been people who've walked away from scenarios like that, and they still feel broken. It's like, I thought that was gonna be the thing. Like, I just knew if they admitted they were wrong and acknowledged me, that I would feel like freed and delivered. But it's like, I'm still hurt. And then it becomes this new redefinition of like, I got the closure I was looking for, but it wasn't what I thought I was looking for. So now what do I do from here? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And here's one, and I'm pretty sure my brother's gonna jump in on this one because he had to help me on this one. So he said, don't ask for the truth if you cannot handle what we're gonna say. And it said, if you want to know something, ask for it directly, but don't get mad if you don't get it, because we'll just answer what you're asking for exactly. So if you want to know more, you need to be direct. You need to be more pretty much detailed on what it is you're asking us. And for me, I know my situation was, I asked somebody, I asked a question, and honestly, I didn't know what the answer was going to be, but damn it, I did not like the answer I got. And I was like, what the actual hell? So it went from planning a trip to asking the person who will remain unnamed, and him coming back and saying, well, yeah, actually I did. And I lost my damn mind. And needless to say, the trip didn't happen. So I called my brother, because he is my male translator. And I'm like, listen to this. So I told him, and he was like, well, if the dude was honest and he told you out of honest, that dude loves you. And I'm like, what you mean? He done put his stuff in a whole nother person. How is that love?
For real.
No. I'm gonna tell you why.
I was like, what? This is not love? Oh Lord.
No, I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why I said he loved you though. This how you know a man love a woman. It's simple. If a man tells you the truth when he can lie to you, he loves you. Because there's no way you can prove it. There's no way you could have found out. There's no way you would have ever known this. If a man tells you the truth when he doesn't have to, if he can go off and do some shit and he know you'll never know, and he still is man enough to tell you the truth, that's love. Because he's telling you the truth when he doesn't have to. If he lies, say, hell no, I don't know that. Who the hell no? And see, if he would have said hell no, you'd be like, oh, shoo. See what I'm saying? It's like you would rather buy a dressed up lie than a naked truth.
No, I've learned. I'm learning.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like that's why I figured. So that's why I figured like, nah, that he loves you because he didn't even have to say nothing.
Yeah.
Wow.
It still was.
You know that's why I told you that.
Yeah, and also, not nothing I would do, but a man could sleep with another woman just off of, GP and not love her, and then,
No,
love his
I don't
wife,
know.
and, love whoever.
No. Okay, here's a question.
No, I'm gonna tell you. No.
Wait, like, shit. No, you don't know.
Saying, like he's saying, like he was saying, he could sleep with a woman, and then you ask him if he did. He say, yes, I did it. God damn it. And
he didn't say it like that, but he did say, yeah.
He was just talking about it. But I love you.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? Yeah, he didn't love her. She was just something to do.
I don't love her.
Because see what you also got to look at too is the situation at hand of how shit displayed. In these days and times,
you're right. I'm glad you brought that up too, because I was going to talk about that. Like, you told me everybody does not express love the same way I do, and that doesn't make it wrong.
Exactly, because see, then if he's at the bar, you at the bar chilling, and women these days, and then he's in the A. Woman thirsty as shit in the A.
Hold up, now you ain't had to put location out there now.
No, well, all right, I'm just saying. I mean, that's a big play. Well,
he meant Arkansas.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll do Little Rock.
No, all right, he meant Atlanta. He meant Atlanta. Go ahead and finish, bro.
Okay. It's like this though. It's like this though. You in a situation where if a man put himself out there and there's a lot of thirsty women, right? Because right now that's the narrative of women. It's like not real women, but women that just out there trying to be a part of the mix. That's what we call them now. They want to be a part of the mix. They want to be a part of something. So it could easily happen on some humbug. Nothing serious at all. Some humbug, probably regretted the hell out of it. You feel me? But him being a man enough to admit that, man, that's a man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm serious. Yeah. That's a man, because some humbug shit happened. He probably woke up and like, you see what I'm saying? Yeah, some humbug. Like he probably has too much drink. Then he wake up, she in the house. Oh, you got to go, baby. Get your Uber. You got to go. Because it's hard with you. You got to go. It probably would. All right, go ahead.
I'm sorry to interrupt. So does that give a man a pass to do it? Just because you're being honest?
No, but no.
But give him a pass to do it again?
It's not a pass because there's no titles entitled. There's no titles.
Okay.
See, there's no titles entitled. Because when I was playing the field, I had to ask a woman that thought they were my main lady, but I never said like, you my girl, just like, yo, we kicking it. You could use that word, we vibe. Not a new term, we vibing. Oh, I like his vibe, girl. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? The new term is, I like his vibe. Y'all smoking them good blunts and y'all fucking, and y'all have a good time, the energy good, but ain't no title. So guess what? He might go to Vegas or something, and he might meet a girl and say, hey, I'm sorry, baby, but shit, we vibing. You see what I'm saying? So if there's no title established, really, he got free will. But if that title was established, hell no, he got to go. If no title established,
right.
I didn't give him a pass, but if there's no title established.
Apparently that runs in the family with titles. And that's a way
See?
to keep people at arm's distance, but then having that freedom, not liking what gets thrown back in your face, and also being shown different parts of your characteristic in somebody else was a hard pill to swallow. And that was one of them, right? Because
exactly
the time I was in the Air Force on up, like I didn't do titles because it gave me that ability to be free. But then having it flipped and thrown back at me, it was like, oh, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna work. So, and it wasn't just that. So many other things in that I did not like about myself, and I didn't know I had those things going on because I was doing it to other people. And that was a lesson in accountability. It was a situation of, oh, you don't return phone calls. I don't like that. Oh, you're not really talkative on the phone. I don't like that. oh, you know, and there were so many things. And then I would complain to other people and they would be, but you do the same thing. And that's,
Wow.
yeah, that was some humble pie to everything I had complained about with this individual. Somebody else would tell me, but you do the same thing. And that again brings me back to that statement of I did not know until it was presented to me. I didn't know. So it's like, oh, so I was making people feel like garbage. And I wasn't unaware until it was done to me. So yeah, that was an eye-opening experience. And one last thing before I jump to the female responses, I want to hear what the guys say. So one thing he did say is being controlling is only for weak ninjas. Real men not going for that. So, and that was kind of said on the previous podcast about controlling. What is that? What exactly, when we say controlling, that can be a lot of different things. Like he also said, there's a difference between independence and alienating somebody. We get it. You're strong. So I'm going to throw that to the guys, actually to everybody. What exactly does that mean? So when a guy says there's a difference between being independent and alienating, what does he mean? What is that difference? What is that difference?
I'll let you take that one, Ben. I'm gonna do the one about control.
I was wanting to do the one about control. Okay, so you say okay. So you mean someone being independent and being alienated?
Too much independence can be alienating, is what he was saying, I guess. He was like, we get it, you can do it on your own, but don't alienate us.
Right. I think in that regard is like, okay, are you talking about, like, let me make sure I understand this right before I say something. Is it you said being too independent but alienated?
Yeah, I would just go with because it's just a straight quote. So I don't know exactly the context he said it. He just said there's a difference between being independent and alienating us. And we have to know what that difference is. And we get it. You're strong. That's what the quote was.
I got you. Okay. Okay. So being independent is, let's just say, you know, I met a strong sister and stuff like that, and she know about herself. She's, you know, feminine, and she got her own thing going on and stuff like that. She's independent. That's what's up. She can do what she do. She can stand on her own 10. Okay, all right. So I think when she gets to the point where, nigga, I don't need you, this, that, and the third and stuff like that, that's when it be alienated. Or you know, y'all kicking it and things like that. She's trying to tell you what to do just because she's in a certain position and things like that. So with all that being said, what I see today is a lot of women who say they're independent, but it's obvious that they're hurt. How they deal with men, you know what I'm saying, who got themselves together and stuff like that. Nigga, I don't need you. I can do this, X, Y, Z. So that's how they alienate themselves, because, see, they're trying to be something they're not.
A masculine, and one thing I hate, masculine, right?
Right.
But just to piggyback on what you're saying, too, though, a lot of that comes from fear and not feeling safe. It's kind of like, and I can only speak for myself because I have been called intimidating. I don't see how, but whatever. I have been in situations where I have shown up in a masculine way because I don't feel safe, be it emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, whatever. I don't feel safe. So it comes across masculine because I feel I have to take care of myself. Again, going back to, you know, I've had to do it for so many years and seen my mom having to do it. So that's all I know. Now, having an awareness of it now, I can say, okay, it's okay to be vulnerable, but you got to be vulnerable with the right person. When you're vulnerable with the wrong person, it's game over. That can destroy you. So how would somebody be able to deal with that?
Okay. You did. It's only two ways in this world, Michelle. You got good and evil. So you have women who's good natured who would be that way, like you say you are, but they're willing to be shown a certain way by a certain man. She might can't do something or whatever. He have to go over there and show her or hold her or something like that. Because she can just be like, I snap my fingers and call the tow man and do this, and I can pay this and X, Y, Z. But this man come in and say, no, you don't have to do that. I'll take care of it. I know you're independent, sweetheart, but let me just take care of this manner of it. You see what I'm saying? So if she's good natured, she's gonna if she's good natured, she's gonna be okay, and she's gonna bow down to that trust. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, if she's willful and evil, nigga, I don't care. You can go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Blah blah blah. I'm gonna do this. No, you ain't got to do that. She's gonna keep fighting you. It's always gonna be a rebuttal. So it's easy for me. You see what I'm saying? It's very easy for me.
So that's how
if
it becomes to be alienating.
Right. That's how it becomes alienated. Because see now, you know, of course there's gonna be other situations and things like that. But see, it's easy for me. If I know she's willing to allow me to do this, that, and the third, I know that she's cool. But if she's not, and then she's always rebutting me and then going against me, I already know. So, no, that's not going to work.
Gotcha. All right, that makes sense. And Raheem, I know you said you wanted to talk about the controlling. I guess I would need to, what would be the definition, your definition of controlling? Because I have been called controlling, but again.
I'll put you like, well, it depends who's calling you controlling, because the dude is absolutely correct. Weak men do get controlled. If you letting a woman give you orders and shit, you do, boy, you weak as shit. You know, that just bottom line flat. If you taking orders from a woman, you can't help that woman grow or build. So if someone calls you controlling, you know, I would like to know who did, because it's like, it means a lot of that person's character. Because see, you can hold your own. And so the only reason they're intimidating is because they say like, damn, she could hold her own without me. So that puts fear in a weak man. If a weak man see a woman that can hold his own without him, he's fearful. He's paranoid. He's paranoid as shit. He's so paranoid, he's already talking to the ghetto ass bitch in the projects on the slide. So if you decide to like bounce his ass, he can be living on Section 8. You already got him intimidated because you don't need him. No, you already got him intimidated. Like, damn, she don't need me. Man, she got degrees and shit. She got her shit together. Like, men think like that. What you always got to realize when males think like that. What you always got to realize with males is they're constantly thinking. You see what I'm saying? Like when somebody said earlier, you was like about the man saying take the closure as it is, and to be honest, men are more emotional than women. So it's like, so if a man tells a woman just take the closure how it is, the man got to take it the same way. I know plenty men that the girl done broke up with them. They going to a job, following her. They're more emotional. So in a lot of ways, it's not separating us. It's not separating us, but you got to see and separate the real women, not the little girls, and the real men and not the males. I feel like when a real woman gets with a male, it's going to be issues. And I feel when a real man gets with a little girl, it's going to just be issues. They're going to conflict because mentally they're not there. They're going to conflict.
Right.
So if a man takes control, if he takes order from a woman, in my eyes, yeah, he's weak.
Right.
And let me add this real quick. Right. I know you already asked Raheem this. I know. But see, the thing is, if a man is weak and the woman is strong, she's gonna automatically have, and this is naturally, she automatically gonna go against him. That's just what it is.
Right. Interesting. This is it's so interesting to hear that. Okay, so the females on the call, what are when the statement about independence and alienation, like, have you felt
because both of you all are very strong. You know, you wouldn't be my friends if you weren't. Have you ever had a male that you were dating or seeing kind of call you intimidated or telling you that you're alienating them?
I've never personally had that experience. I can't say. No, I've never personally had that experience. I've had guys like in the dating sphere say things such as that of being intimidating, or like one guy who had like a whole emotional breakdown because I think like my tire went flat or something. And I called my dad and then I called AAA, and he was in the car with me, and he was like, well, why you didn't let me check the tire? And I was like, because the tire was flat. So I just called my dad to call the tire dude and getting the car towed. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, well, what am I supposed to do for you? And I was like, companionship, you know, the whole partnership.
Yeah, why is that
thing.
so not? Why is that so hard to get? Like, why can't guys just say, like, look, I just need you there for your presence. Can I have your presence there? Like, why is
Yeah,
it
it's
that?
like I get dudes like to help with stuff because, like, you know, I have my daddy. My daddy likes to just come to my house and just do things I don't ask him to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I know I have a brother. It's like he comes in town and he's checking my tires, checking my oil. Like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's a dude thing. But it's like, I feel, you know, there's certain things like, say legit, like if I didn't have roadside assistance and I was like an anxiety riddled woman where it's just like, oh my God, like the tire is flat and like, ah, you know what I'm saying? Like, and there's nothing wrong with that because there's some people who are like that, but it's like, yeah, okay, a dude could totally step in, but I don't think it's fair to like, kind of like what the guys are saying about the whole lying thing, right? It's like a dude who loves you is going to tell you the truth, even if it's not like a beautiful truth. You know what I mean? I feel like it's the same thing with playing damsel in distress. Like if I know how to change my own tire, how to hang my own curtains, it's like, am I supposed to just like bullshit and be like, oh God, this drill. Oh, a
Yes.
I
stud
use
finder.
this.
Oh, what is a stud finder? I have no idea. Like, it's like, and that's what a lot of dudes sometimes are asking for, really, because it's like if a chick like taught herself or, you know, had a dad who taught her how to do certain things and she knows how to be self-sufficient, or if she's just period self-sufficient, it's like I can understand where a dude would feel alienated, but I think that's more of a value thing because that means that you get your worth and value from being needed. It's like from you fixing tires and hanging curtains and like rescuing, that is that individual's personal sense of value, as opposed to it just being like, you know, a connection thing. And I think that's like what the difference is between the two. It's like there's some people who value connection, there's some people who value being needed, like caretaker women who take care of broken dudes and things of the sort. You know, people value different things, but I think it's important, again, that kind of goes back to like a accountability thing. It's like I don't think that there's necessarily anything wrong with a guy wanting to be Mr. Fix It, you know, but it's like I think you can't necessarily make it a blanket term to all women because there are some damsels in distress and there's some women who aren't, but I don't really feel that the women who aren't should be judged for the fact that they aren't, if that makes sense.
Right.
Or that
No, I
dude,
get it.
yeah, should think like that's the right way to be. I think it's
That's
just
true.
like a gumbo of people, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, jumping over to the female statements, and I kind of want to see how, especially the dudes, like one statement said, most men keep things to themselves. And as a woman, it makes us feel valued in a relationship if we are kind of, you know, let it be known that you're going through something and not just shutting us out. And it's okay to show your vulnerability at times. So when guys make the statement that no one cares about their feelings, that's not necessarily true. A lot of times guys don't share their feelings. And I agree. Like, if you're going through something, don't just start ignoring me. Like, let me know you're going through something. You know what I'm saying? So what's the statement with that? That's for the guys. Like, what's the statement with that? Like, why is it so hard to show emotion?
Well, I can say early on in my life because of my mother and my sisters and things like that. I just thought it was weak to show emotions, but as I got out of that bubble of thinking, I realized it was weak not to show emotions. So, with all that being said, a man gonna put everything out there, what he's going through and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna say, hey, you can, hey, this is what it is. You can deal with it. You see what I'm saying? So a little boy is gonna try to pretend to be something that he's not. So that's the issue when you're talking about someone that's, holding in their emotions, because at one point you're gonna bust. You know what I'm saying? I don't care who you are. You're gonna bust at one point. You're gonna flip out on the.
Exactly.
You're gonna flip out at work or whatever.
Exactly.
I'm just not that type of person. See, when I was
Exactly.
younger, I thought it was cool, but every time I always ended up flipping out on somebody. You see what I'm saying? So, with all that being said,
that could be scary.
with all that being, right. But with all
that's
that
what
being
you got. That's what you got to
said,
share it. Yeah, exactly.
You have to, you have to go to that point to where you're not holding anything, because see now, I tell somebody straight out, I don't like this, I don't like that. You know what I'm saying? Right. And
so it's a level of maturity, is what y'all are saying.
Yeah. A level
you
of maturity.
To go to a certain point.
And also, it's the men she picked. Like, I never held back nothing emotional from none of my partners. My wife, none of that. Like, if I'm going through something, no, I'm gonna tell you, because see, if you don't tell the person, like he said, you're gonna hold it in. And once you hold it in, here comes the attitude at the house. Here comes the attitude for anything you're dealing with. So I always been known to show my emotion. Like, I never been wanting to do it like, well.
I forgot to say that.
Yeah, I never gonna. Yeah. I never been one to hold, but I'm gonna show my emotion. Like, if I'm going through something, they gonna know. But you got certain men that not like he said, certain males.
He's always been like that from childhood on. It's that Pisces moon.
Yeah. I'm gonna show my emotion. So it's never like I'm not holding nothing back. But if some males do feel like showing emotion to a woman is weak and they can't do it, and I handle it myself and all that. Some do that, but I've never been one in that case.
Yeah, and as a female, and the other two can speak on that as well. For me, it allows me to look. I'm not saying you got to give me play by play what's going on, but give me a heads up, something's up, because otherwise I'm just out here guessing. Why are you having an attitude? Why are you shutting down? And you're leaving us to fill in the blanks, and that's not owning emotions is important. Wouldn't you guys agree, Keisha and Princess India? When y'all think?
Absolutely. I think communication is so key. Definitely. Whether you're going through something good or something bad, I think communication is key. And a lot of time when men, some men do, when they kind of go in their shell, when they're going through something and they block you out, they do leave women to think. And most of the time what we're thinking is so far from what it is. And then they come back around when they're feeling better, and you're like, the woman is stuck like, okay,
what the hell?
You been with somebody else? Did you meet somebody? What's going on? And I think it's a stigma where men are supposed to suck it up and be quiet and just not communicate it with their significant other. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because they feel like the woman can't handle it or it makes them look weak. But I think it is important to have that open communication. And even if you don't want to go in all of the deep details of what's going on, say something. Between the two, come up with some type of, I don't know, whether it's a few words you say, a slang or hand signal to say
a code word. Like I literally get code words. I'm like, okay, are you space cadetting today? And that for me was always, I don't want to be bothered. I'm going through something and it's not about you, but I need to blast off for a bit. And that was cool. That was cool. I just need to know, don't shut down. Like, okay, you're out space cadetting. I get it. So I give you your space. Otherwise, I'm going to be poking. What's wrong? What's wrong? Is there something I did? Nah. And that's annoying because I don't like it when people do it to me.
And then when you go away for those days or hours or whatever, could you imagine what your spouse is going through? And then when you come back around, you want, the men usually want everything to go back to normal. It's kind of hard to want to lay in your arms and you're going to disappear for a few days, So
exactly. So there has to be accountability, and I would say even with communication, you have to have communication, but not just any communication. This was brought up on the last podcast. It has to be effective communication, because I can have amazing communication with somebody, but if my story isn't being heard or my message isn't getting across the way I mean it or need it to be, the communication's not valid. So it has to be effective communication, and ask questions. Like if you feel some type of way, like what is that type of way? What is going on? Share it. Like, I'm not saying, again, us in the helping profession do have a issue where it's kind of like we want to help, but we have to be accountable for being able to back off. Like Keisha, I was going into reaction mode a couple weeks ago, and she was like, "Hold up, Michelle," and it's having people be able to say, "You're doing too much." Like, you're doing too much. And Keisha has told me that, Princess India has told me that. My brother has multiple times has told me, when I'm kind of off the rails. But you need that ability for people that you trust, because it's one thing for people to tell you you're doing this. If you don't trust that person, or that person's not doing this out of love, you're gonna kind of be side-eyeing, right? So, but I know these individuals are not going to tell me something to cause me further pain, and I need to listen. So then the question is, and we can start wrapping it up. The question is the accountability to, when something is brought to your awareness, the accountability to address it. Like, and how do you address it? So if we have somebody who definitely needs to go to a mental health person, or is experiencing fallout from issues that have occurred in previous relationships, and they don't want this to happen in the relationship that's going on currently, wouldn't you say there's an accountability for people to not blame their current partner for what the previous partner did to them? And this is for anybody.
Heck yeah.
Absolutely.
You cannot make the present person suffer for past people's mistakes. I think that's the disease that's plaguing society right now. It's the lack thereof of knowing that, like Michelle talked about earlier, it's like attracting who you are. It's a lack of self-awareness that says, I'm not emotionally unavailable, or I'm not narcissistic, or I'm not sociopathic, whatever it is, I'm not this, but I keep meeting people that are reflecting that back to me, right? And every time you meet a person, so say it's like 5 chicks or like 5 dudes that you meet, and then that becomes like 10 or like 15. And the mindset that sets into a person is like, all ninjas ain't shit. All females ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? But it's never taking that step back to see, like, to take a long, hard look at oneself in the mirror, because there's a lack of personal accountability. Because I think the first inclination of all humanity, before you start to do work on yourself, is to blame other people and to be a victim, because it's easier. It's like, poor me. It's like all of these, insert type of person keep dating me and I'm not appreciated. And then it becomes, your 0.1% that is now a representation of the entire populace, which is completely and grotesquely inaccurate. You know what I mean? And I think that's the thing that has caused like this divide between men and women, because it's the lack of us seeing how, we're dating broken men, or, dating our mothers, dating our fathers, or, dating ourselves, whatever the case may be. And we're either like everything we discussed today, like blaming it on childhood, blaming the other person, feeling like one's a victim. And not seeing how we play a role in all of that, it perpetuates that disease, and it becomes like this cancer that plagues society, in so many words.
That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. And in the sake of, kind of trying to bridge this divide, as we close out, I kind of want to go through, and everybody kind of can just give a word of advice, suggestions, or a challenge to anybody who's listening on how you can be more accountable in relationships as it relates to males, females, or just overall. So I'll start. And for me, I feel accountability has to start with your self-awareness. I don't feel you can hold somebody else accountable if you can't hold yourself accountable. Like, when someone brings something to your attention, or you start to notice things that are a reoccurring theme in relationships, it's time to really do some self-reflection. And like Princess India said, look in the mirror, like what's really going on. I'm not going to lie. When I learned that, yeah, I'm emotionally unavailable. Yeah, I got some jealousy issues. Yeah, I might not want to hear the truth, even though I'm asking for it. Like, these are all areas that I had to focus on. Yeah, I do tend to go over and above and beyond when I'm dealing with somebody who needs help, because I'm a nurturer at heart, and that's what I do. But that I have to be able to say, stop. That's not who you want to be in this relationship. That's not your role. So just self-awareness for me, for anybody listening, should be one of your top priorities if you are really looking for a relationship where accountability is a factor. So I'll do the ladies first, and then we'll have the fellas close out. But Princess India, what would your challenge, statement, advice be for our listeners when it comes to being accountable?
It's going to start with a shameless plug. And I'm going to tell people to buy the Woke Book, Volume 1, because in my book, it is pretty much a depiction of just different things that have gone on in society and in collective energies for the last 10 years. And the book teaches you a technique that I use in therapy with clients, where you can do a timeline of the last 10 years of your life. So if a person was trying to unearth patterns that are showing up in their relationships, in the book, I show you how to create a timeline of your life for the last 10 years. And if you were to focus solely on your romantic relationships, you'd pretty much put all of those relationships on a timeline. You'd want to look at, when did you meet this person? How did you meet this person? How did the relationship start? How did, the relationship start to break down? When did the relationship end? And look for similarities between each one of those romantic relationships over the last 10 years. And that starts to give you, insight. So if I were to give a hypothetical situation that happened with one of my clients, of every person said, you're selfish, you're selfish, you're selfish. And the epiphany that was had was, okay, if all of these people don't know each other, they don't have a secret society group where they have meetings about me, and they all tell each other, hey, this person is selfish, go tell this person that, right? That was the aha moment. That was like, wow, all of my relationships ended because all of my partners said I'm selfish. And if none of them know each other, and all of these people over a span of time in different cities and states and countries have all said that I'm selfish, right? And it's not a conspiracy, then maybe I need to take a step back and look at myself and see, am I really selfish? So I think that that's something that would help a lot. And even if you didn't buy my book, if you literally
we'll put the link in the notes description.
Yeah, even if you didn't buy my book, you could still do a timeline, and just looking at that is just seeing what the consistencies are. And just being honest with yourself, even if it's not in romantic relationships, looking at your family dynamics, looking at your friendships, and the consistent problems you run into with friendships, you run into with coworkers, you run into with your boss, and then looking at your romantic relationships. It's really doing, the term for it would be self-inquiry. It's just really doing an honest evaluation of your past and of your life and of your experiences, and seeing what it is that you come up with. Because I feel on a soul level, each and every one of us can be oblivious to our behavioral patterns or how we treat other people, but there's always going to be that nagging little thing in you that's like, you wrong for that. You wrong for telling them that. Now you know you wrong. You know, there's always
the
that
asshole.
right. There's always that little thing. And I say explore that little voice. Like follow the rabbit hole and see where it leads you.
Absolutely. That's awesome advice. How about you, Keisha? What would be something that you want to leave with the listeners when it comes to accountability?
Well, just to say, I totally agree with her with what she was saying with doing that self-evaluation. I think it's important to deal with your own mess, your own stuff before you bring somebody else into your world. Deal with it. It's just as important to identify your negative attributes in a relationship as it is to identify the positive ones. So in part of being accountable, if you're not at the place where you can actually look back at what part of a relationship you play the role of it not working, I don't think it's, a good thing to move forward and get into a new relationship. Take the time out to be accountable, self-accountability, to work on you first and make sure that you're in a good place before you connect with somebody else.
Amen.
Yeah.
Don't y'all be out here monkey barring people now.
Ooh, we don't like monkey barring.
Don't y'all be monkey barring. Hanging on to one, swinging on to the next till you get a good grip. Don't you be doing that.
Right.
And that can have some disastrous outcomes. So let's look at let's bring the fellas on. What would be some things that you guys would kind of discuss or leave with our listeners when it comes to being accountable? I'll go with my little bro first.
Well, for me, on the accountability side, before you can try to heal anybody else, male or female, or men or female, you got to heal yourself. I agree with everybody else on the panel. It's the same thing. It's self-accountability. You got too many people that are damaged goods, and they trying to go into a relationship and heal the next person. They haven't healed themselves yet. So I believe self-healing is number one when you like coming out of any kind of drastic relationship. If you ain't healed from that yet, you got to take that time away. You get out the game. You sit on the bench. Don't play all season right now. So you get yourself right. Because if you try to jump right back in,
reserved.
Be on IR. Get yourself right. Because if not, you will go back into a relationship, and if you haven't healed already, and then you might be a nurturer. If it's a female, might be a nurturer. She's trying to heal a broken man, and she's still broke. Then if it's a man, he's trying to heal a female, but he still got trust issues. He still got issues going on. But I met this nice girl, man. No, heal yourself. All season.
Yeah,
that's my biggest thing.
IRL.
Take all season.
Note that too, the awareness of you can't use relationships to heal somebody. Like you can't heal somebody else. They have to do their own healing. You can't do it.
Exactly. That's it. Exactly.
You can't do it. And for me, I had to sit back and look at my issue where I was adopting. I say this phrase all the time. I adopted other people's demons and neglected my own. And you can't do that. Like you can't try to fix somebody else. The only healing happens from this individual. You can't heal somebody else. And a relationship cannot heal you. Relationship can't heal you either. But how about you, Ben?
Exactly.
Michelle, ask that question one more time. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. I was saying, what final statements that you have that you want to leave with the listeners when it comes to the importance of being accountable that could help bridge this divide?
All right. You're going to have to come to a point where you say, hey, I'm an effed up person and, I've made these choices and that choices and this is the result I got. So now I'm in this circumstance. And me being a master of this circumstance, I can persist in it or I can get myself up out of it. So now, what do I have to do? I'm going to have to stop doing certain things. You see what I'm saying? So if I stop doing certain things, that means I'm going to think of it. I'm going to have to think a certain way so I can get out of this situation. So, at the end of the day, when you're dealing with accountability and things like that, one have to conquer themselves. One have to conquer, whatever weaknesses in them. And if they don't, they're just going to keep going through the same situations over and over and over. You may think you're an independent woman or a strong man, but see, the thing is certain things about you that you're not trying to correct, or it's certain things about you that you're not, being accountable for. So therefore, the circumstances going to keep repeating. So one's going to have to look deeply within themselves and say, hey, this is what needs to be fixed, and then this is what needs to be done. So until that happens, there's no change. So that's my piece on it.
Awesome. And that's a great way for us to close out. Bottom line is, what everybody's saying is, you're going to have to look at yourself. You're going to have to look at yourself. Look in the mirror. Are there repeating cycles? Have people that you trust and love been telling you the same thing over and over again? Have you been in a situation in your life that you're repeating the same behaviors and getting the same outcomes that you don't want? These are indicators that something's got to change. We all know what the definition of insanity is. So, and a relationship doesn't fix the issue, but if you got a partner who can support you through it, that's even better. If you got a partner who can encourage you, that's even better. But you have to do the work. So it really comes down to, what is the outcome? What's the outcome you're trying to have? And instead of blaming everybody else, he's this, he's that, she's this, she's that, you might want to look at yourself. You might want to take a look in the mirror, because it might be reflecting back something that you've been doing for years and you just didn't know. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. And we was doing some talking. This was long. We was doing some talking, but hopefully there was some good information for our listeners. I do want to do shout outs to our listeners across the water in other countries. Like, that's awesome that we have listeners in other places other than the United States of this Americas. So I want to say thank you all for listening. I love how tech lets us do that. But let's look at unifying one another. We are so much stronger together. It's not about comparing traumas and seeing who has the worst trauma, y'all. It's about working together and not looking at who's the high value and everything else. When we work together, we take our control back. And that's something that we definitely need to put some focus on. So if everybody wants to say hey or bye before we sign off, and we will look forward to touching base with everybody on our next episode. And another plug, check out Princess India's Loveology podcast. You might hear another voice you recognize too. Also on Spotify and other podcast platforms. So I will post the link to the book, the woke book, in the link. And thank you all so much for participating and spending your evening with me. You guys take care.
You too. Hey, check this out, because I know you wanna. I really know you do. You want to start a podcast. So why don't you hit up Anchor? It's the easiest way to get your podcast up and running, and it's free. Plus, they have creation tools that will allow you to record and edit your podcast straight from your phone or computer. Plus, they'll even distribute it for you, so you don't even have to get behind the scenes and do any of that geeky, nerdy stuff. You just hit record and start talking. Anchor does the rest. So if you want to be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so many others, and let the world hear what you have to say, check it out. What do you have to lose? Did I mention it's free?